All right, guys, December 26th. This is the long check-in covering the Boston work trip. Now, some of this may seem unbelievable, and I don't blame you for thinking that. I myself still am processing and reeling what happened from what happened. But let's just get right to it. I work at what's called the Best Buy Teen Tech Center in a library. This is a makerspace for teens between the ages of 13 to 18, sponsored by Best Buy, I should say funded by Best Buy. And we work with an affiliate called the Clubhouse Network. This is a nationwide group. The work trip is initiated and coincides with the Clubhouse Network at their flagship place in Boston, about 2 blocks from the hotel we end up staying at. So, hence the Boston trip. Sunday consists of airports, airplanes, crappy airport food, flying in to Boston fairly late, and exploring the immediate surroundings and happening upon a tapas restaurant. If you don't know what tapas is, I encourage you to look it up. It's essentially small portions of Spanish food, like more glorious hors d'oeuvres, if you will. The key being the variety of different things you can order and get. So that's the first night, tapas restaurant. Completely drained from travel. Head back to the hotel and turn in. That brings us to Monday. And Monday consists of icebreakers, introductions, meeting people, handouts, speakers, information, etc. This goes on all day. We get breaks, we get fed for lunch, and then Monday night we go as a group for a bonding thing to this Indian restaurant, which is right by the hotel. Now, being quite a connoisseur of Indian food at this point, I was fairly excited until I actually ate the food, and this must have been the most flavorless, bland Indian food I've ever had. Now, I would never say that because it was paid for. Yes, it was great. How about you? Thank you. Awesome. No, it was not good. But anyway, that brings us to Tuesday. I believe Tuesday was the first night we struck out on our own. It was optional group activities, but we wanted to see other specific things, namely the Boston Public Library, which we did. This place is huge. It is like a small city. Absolutely gigantic. And we kind of bounced some questions off of the staff there, working at a library ourselves. And I should add, I was with Kate, who's the manager of the library, but the CBO of the Teen Tech Center that I work at. So she was with me. After that, we went to Harvard Square and saw a little bit of Harvard. Tried to bust into the Harvard Library and were quickly stopped by the security. You need a Harvard ID to enter the Harvard Library. Go figure. So, I don't know if that was the night or not, but ended up having a lobster roll at some point, which was better than I thought it would be, but I don't think I need another lobster roll till 2026 or 27. That would bring us to Wednesday. More of the same, group activities, long day, etc. Fed and watered at lunch by the Clubhouse Network on them. And we head to what's called North End, Boston. Now, don't know why they don't call it North Side, North End. This is like the Hill in St. Louis is full of Italian restaurants. And when I say full of Italian restaurants, every other building was an Italian restaurant, if not every building. Congested in such a rather sizable area, but again, a congested area. Just picture everywhere you look, Italian restaurants. I don't know which one's as good as another. They've got their menus posted outside on the front of the building. We're trying to figure out where the hell to eat. It's cold. I'm bundled up. I've got my hat on. And we finally kind of just give up and say, hey, here's a place like the 45 other places we looked at. And I think somebody that worked there came out and said, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. You're more than welcome. Come on in. And I think that also helped us decide. So we hopped in there, sat down, ordered our food, And I'm wearing this hat because if I'm not, then I look like a Fraggle Rock character with hair sticking out everywhere and just crazy. And so I kept the hat on. But by the time our food shows up, I hear a deep voice lean over my shoulder from behind saying, "That's a nice hat." And I immediately apologize because I'm picturing a Boston fan trying to rib me about 2019, which is when the Blues played the Bruins in Boston, Game 7, final round, and won the Stanley Cup. So my immediate response was, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to instigate anything, but wearing this hat, I don't want any trouble, blah, blah, blah. I get it, But that wasn't what it was about. As it turns out, this guy comes around to where I can see him, and it doesn't hit me at first. But he starts talking, and he finally introduces himself, and as soon as he says his name, it hits. And I'm, oh my God, it's Curbs, it's Chris Kerber. This is the main Blues radio announcer now. Now, it used to be John Kelly, but he's since moved on. So anytime you watch the game, listen to the game, this is the guy you hear, Chris Kerber, Curbs. Here he is, standing in front of me. And then I look to my left, and Joey Vitale, who was a hockey player for the Pittsburgh Penguins, the second in command for the radio TV simulcast broadcast. When Chris is done calling the play-by-play, Joey will cut in, recap something that happened, offer a color comment, etc. There's a third person. Now, I don't recognize the third person, but he will become key in the story. So, yeah, I immediately freak out, act like a complete nut. I hug Curbs, and I said, oh my God, I've been listening to you forever. And I see Joey, and I go and hug Joey, and like, Joey, this is nuts. My boss is sitting there going, what the hell is going on? And the third guy, wow, this is awesome, shake his hand. In my head, I'm thinking, I don't know who the hell you are, but this is great. We make a little bit of small talk. What brings you to Boston, etc., blah, blah, blah. Now, this is Wednesday, and I already knew this, but the Blues, coincidentally, are in Boston for the game on Thursday night. I had looked at ticket prices. It was just too much. And on top of that, the Blues stink, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not paying to watch these guys. I'll find something else to do. I can see them anytime. Other things to do in Boston, never been. So the final question is popped, and, well, are you going to the game tomorrow night? And I said, no. It's a little bit too steep price-wise for me. I would love to, but blah, blah, blah. As I'm saying this, the third guy, who I don't know, is digging through his wallet and pulls out a business card. Hands it to me, and he says, text me, we'll get you a ticket. Oh my God, this is nuts. What is happening? Am I on? Is this real? I look at the business card. Now, this is Chris Zimmerman, who is, in fact, the president CEO of the St. Louis Blues hockey organization. This guy's a big deal. I don't recognize him because he doesn't put himself in the spotlight. He is in the background, pulling the strings behind the scenes. So I thank them profusely. This is awesome. I can't believe this is happening, et cetera, et cetera. They leave. I give a little bit of time to process what's going on while Kate starts eating my food because I'm too excited to eat anything at the moment. And then once things settle down a little, I text and say, hey, verifying that this is, I give my email and my information and everything they would need to shoot a ticket over to me. Talking to Kate, and I'm like, hey, explain to her what's going on, who these people were. And I'm a little foggy on some of the things, but she had planned to go to a museum, and this was like her big looking forward to thing in Boston Thursday night. And I remember, now it's a little foggy, I remember saying, did you want to go with me, et cetera, et cetera. And she said, no, I will do this other thing, and then left it at that. So I tell them I'll only need one ticket. It's just for me. My friend won't be going. And that's that. So the rest of the night is just crazy. We hit a couple bars and talk about it. And just soak up Boston. And then, let's see, Thursday morning, I get a text from Chris, the CEO, saying, hey, just verifying once again, this is your number, blah, blah, blah. So yes, he said you should receive a ticket shortly. Shortly, everybody's interpretation of shortly is different, right? We get to lunchtime and I still haven't received it, and I'm starting to get worried. What's happened? What's going on? So reluctantly, I text him again. I'm like, hey, just touching base with you, letting you know that should I have received the ticket by now, etc. And a little bit longer, and finally I get a text saying, yeah, back on this. You'll be getting your ticket directly. And in fact, I do. Now, I look at the ticket, and I don't know what seat, row, etc., any of this means. Could I look it up and find out? Yes. But I want to prolong the anticipation, the excitement. I want to find out when I get there, right? Because I'm a nut. I'm a weirdo. So I don't look. And when I Uber that night to the Garden, TD Garden in Boston, and I'm walking in. It's cool. It's amazing. It's quite an experience seeing all the history and everything. And I show somebody my phone. I'm like, where is this? And they're like, up there. I get up there. I show the next person, where is this? They're like, up there. I'm like, oh my God, where am I going? And I get to this door, and there's a scanner on the door. And I hold my phone with the ticket to the scanner, and it unlocks the door. I open the door, and it's the CEO and his family in a suite. And they see me, and the CEO comes, recognizes me, greets me. Wow. So now I'm at TD Garden in an executive suite with the CEO and all his cronies. And again, it's just, I can't believe this is happening. This is the craziest 24 hours that I may have ever had, much less in years. And before I can even acclimate to my surroundings, the door opens again, and in comes Alexander Steen. Now, if you know hockey, you know him. If you don't, this is a guy that played on the Blues team for a while, was a seminal piece of the 2019 Cup team. And I'm looking at this guy, and I just start laughing because it is so surreal, and I'm so excited, and it's so nuts. All I can do is laugh. That what is going on? How is this happening? And Steen is going around, and he's all decked out in a suit and he just looks so cool. And he's greeting everybody and shaking their hands, and I'm just laughing. And he looks at me as if to say, what the hell is wrong with this guy? And I just can't help it. And he makes his rounds and leaves. So I'm looking at the ice. It's wonderful seats. Even though it was up, you would think it wouldn't be a very good view. No, it's good. And start to settle in. Little bit of small talk with a couple of folks there. Hey, I'm so-and-so. Where are you from? What do you do? And most likely, though they don't mention it, who the hell are you and why are you here? So do my best to field those questions. And then the game starts. And we have pretty good first 5 or 6 minutes, and I'm like, okay, things may be all right. Now, to recap, the Blues, I may have already said this, I think I did, are not doing well this year. They're bad. They're not good. And so I'm like, cool, yeah, this may be, I may be perceived as a good luck charm, having been invited here, and that could spawn more good things, who knows. But now, horrible turnover, Boston goal. 1-0. And the rest of the night turns into, end result, 5-2. Whatever. The experience itself supersedes the score. And as I'm there, and this is going on, and I'm looking around, and there's a stocked fridge full of whatever drink you could want. There's metal trays being heated with whatever food you could want. I had initially been reluctant to go to the bathroom because I thought, I'm going to leave, that door's going to shut, and something's going to happen because I don't trust myself. and I'm going to lose that ticket. Now, it's not just a screenshot of a ticket. It's a ticket, and it has a bar going back and forth like it's alive. And you show that to whoever needs to see it. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to go to the bathroom and not be able to get back in because I've done something wrong. I don't trust myself. So I need to go, and I'm standing there, and I realize somebody comes out of this room in the suite. I'm like, is that a bath? We have our own bathroom in the suite. So remedy that situation. I would have loved to give my opinion and thoughts about this team this season to the CEO, and I kind of headed down that road a couple of times, and I don't know if it's coincidence or not, but Chris seemed not interested in any of that stuff, so I stopped attempting that. But at the end of the game, he apologizes to me. He says, I'm sorry for the loss, blah, blah, blah. I said, look, this isn't about the score. You have given me a memory that will last a lifetime. I can't thank you enough, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. Say my goodbyes and head out. And I call an Uber and I wait in 18-degree weather with the wind just whipping and everybody else around me for my Uber to show up. And it was a hell of a thing. It really was. And the Uber comes, and Uber drivers aren't always talkative or wanting to engage in conversation, but this one seemed like he wanted to do that. So I told him my story, and he couldn't believe it either. And, to recap, so this was Thursday night. To recap, if we had gone to any other restaurant, this wouldn't have happened. If I hadn't worn this hat that I asked my brother for and out of his loving dear heart gave to me, if I wouldn't have been wearing this, probably wouldn't have happened. If we had gotten to that restaurant any earlier than we did, may not have happened. Had we gotten to that restaurant any later than we did, may not have happened. Had we gone with the group to do the group activity, not going to the restaurant, wouldn't have happened. There's so many factors and variables that had to align and come together that this thing happened is just mind-boggling. I don't know what the odds are, but I feel like I hit the lottery. So there's that. That was Thursday. Friday was a half day with the work-related stuff. And then we went to a museum. And from there began the process of many Uber rides and plane rides and airports back to New Orleans. So definitely a hell of a trip, a hell of a thing. And again, looking back on all of it, specifically, obviously, the hockey thing, I just, what are the odds? Wow, nice hat turns into, I'm in the suite with the CEO and his family and friends watching the game with said hat. So, yeah, wow, what a thing. Got a couple days off here before I go back to work, and because it's my weekend. So, yeah, anything game-related, yes and no. I guess more yes. I've noticed a number of ASL things that have been released that I don't have, so may pull the trigger on those possibly after Christmas when I have a little more disposable income. But I'm also probably going to cut the cord with ASL with the multi-man publishing release of things. They release a certain number of things each year. I don't know that I need to or can financially continue to keep up with everything they release, official product, year after year after year. And there's another reason behind that is I have so much stuff, so many scenarios. I could play a scenario a day and probably not finish what I have the rest of my life. So sometime soon, maybe starting next year, I think I may cut the cord with needing to buy every official release by M&P for ASL, unless it's just a crazy, awesome, historical module or something like that. What else? Wither, which I've talked about. is on Board Game Geek. I have received no feedback. There's a way to check the downloads to see how many people have downloaded the rules, and I think the last time I checked it was 6. This is fine. This is okay. It's not surprising. The base audience for this channel is not interested in something like Wither, so I was already prepared for that. And sticking something on Board Game Geek by a self-publisher is not going to ring any sirens or garner much attention either. I did send a couple emails, and I may have mentioned this as well, to specific YouTube channels that deal in this topic. Nothing. So, moving forward, finish it up. I got to polish it up. Finish it. And a couple videos, tutorials on how it works. And I don't know, move on to the next thing, I guess. But I did it, and that's all that matters. I'm happy with it. It was, again, a little over a year and a half in the making. So, yeah. Other game-related things, I do just now recall a venture on, I don't know, maybe Tuesday. I think it was the night we went to the library in Harvard, Tuesday night. And I had looked up ahead of time game stores in Boston, a number of them, one in and around Harvard. Get to this place, and my boss splits off to do her own thing because she knows it may be a while. And I'm looking around, and I think, is it just me, or there's not much here? It seems a little underwhelming, disappointing. Oh well, I'll look around and then head on my way. As I'm looking around, I see a stairway that goes downstairs. And I see along the walls on the stairway stuff that I'm into these days. What would that be? Fantasy stuff, Dungeons and Dragons type stuff, figures, etc. And I think, this could be a good indicator of things to come. So after spending probably 15 minutes just on the stairs looking at stuff, I make my way to the lower level, and there's a opening room with more board games. And I didn't see anything that, say, for instance, you guys would like by way of war games. Didn't see hardly anything there. But the next room I went into was again, for me and my current interest, a gold mine, literally. I have watched for some time now a number of channels that review and cover kind of niche role-playing games, fantasy games, self-published, independent companies. You see these things on people's channels, and yes, you can order it, and I understand all that. But they almost seem like mythical creatures, because this is not something you can go to Barnes & Noble or whatever and just pick up and take home. Yet, lo and behold, here they are on the shelf. There's this thing, there's that thing. Wow, I never thought I'd see this thing in real life and hold it in my hand. And I think I don't need any of it. And then I reconsider. And I use my phone, and I take a picture of each thing that interests me for future reference. And also to easily access what I could potentially walk away with from the store. So I'm flipping through the pictures, and I pick 1, 2, 3 things. One is a little more common in the fantasy RPG realm. And that is what is called Shadow Dark stuff. Shadow Dark. Could do this without a glare. Shadow Dark. And this is the celebrated RPG. What do you call it? You can use it with Dungeons and Dragons, but it makes Dungeons and Dragons infinitely better, more playable. Never have I heard more praise for something along those lines than this. I'm not sure what the Kickstarter or whatever did, but it did fantastic. Pick that up. The second thing was another solo kind of journaling RPG. This is Be Like a Crow. This won an award, actually, and I've watched reviews on this. I love the idea of it. It was the main reason I picked it up. And this is by Tim Roberts. He also did Be Like a Cat, which I considered getting as well. But again, you gotta draw the line somewhere. And then another one I grabbed, there was only one of these, and I thought, I will never see this again anywhere. And it's probably, when you self-publish things, they go out of print quick. So PDFs are one thing, but to get the hardbacks, the physical copies of things is cool as well. What am I holding up? This is Outcast Silver Raiders, and it is 3 volumes. It is another RPG. You get this because the packaging, because it's fantastic. And being a lover of, and this is perhaps an apologetics for why I've branched off into this direction, being a lover of the reading of rules, essentially what this is just a real treat as far as rules. I'm not doing you much justice here. Let's find something. So this will be fun reading. This is things that will inspire, spark ideas, help me understand what current trends are, because this is a recent release. It seems like a real resurgence in this independent role-playing stuff that's happening right now, a kind of a renaissance period for it. You could argue, and I have in the past, that there's a renaissance period going on right now for games in general, but I have specifically noticed for independently published role-playing games and TTRPG, tabletop role-playing games, there's a real boom going on right now. So this was my haul from the game store, and trust me, I could have walked out of there with 5-6 times this, but you got to draw the line somewhere, and I'm not rich, so there's that. And I still have the pictures in case I need something. I decided I need something from there. One of the other cool books was, and of all things, it's published by MIT Press. Now this is funny because MIT is probably 10-15 minutes away from this game store. So it's published by MIT Press, and it's like a history or overview of role-playing games. And it's done with, each page is an entry with a picture of the game and then a breakdown of the history of that game, what it is, who designed it, what it's about, etc. I came real close to getting that, but I thought, no, we'll wait on that. But that was interesting as well. And I should add that also Tuesday night, I believe, we went to see, or was it Monday night? I can't remember. Monday night, we went to see and visit MIT, and that was a real trip. We had a tour. We got to see different rooms where people are working on things. We had a couple people present their projects to us and what they're working on. One was musically related. Another one was based on communication and specifically conversation. This person had designed a deck of cards that are used to help facilitate conversations and keep them on track, etc. But the interesting thing is she also used RFID tags. I don't know if you know what these are, but it's an electronic tag that you can use an RFID pad and it will, do whatever you want it to. It will flash information on a screen. You get a speaker. You can have it play something that you can listen to. It's called an RFID tag. Now at the library, we have probably every book in the library has an RFID tag on it. This is for security reasons. We have an RFID tag reader at the front gate, so if somebody walks out and the RFID tag hasn't been turned off through checking out the book, it sets off the alarm. So there's that. It's a RFID is a radio frequency, maybe ID or something like that. But this person has used it for each card, so you can scan each card and get it to listen to something in relation to that card. And I wanted to tell her, but I didn't, because I wanted to do this myself, what she has done. But be ready, because I think this is the forefront of gaming innovation. I do expect to see RFID things incorporated into games moving forward. Could be wrong, but I think that's the future of gaming, like it or not. So there was that. Also, because she had mentioned, we have I don't think she used this term, but we have a degradation of conversation skills in our culture because of technology, blah, 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 etc., AI. Here's a thing that I think she used AI for to help our conversation. So I asked her, I said, well, I think I understand your intention behind what you're doing, but using this to help conversation seems like more of the same. We're losing the skill of basic human conversation, and here we are adding yet another outside thing to facilitate conversation, when I think what we need, and I said this in so many words, I think what we need is just to work on our conversation skills, right? There's a thing you can do and improve, just like math. The more you do it, the better you get at it. Reading comprehension, the more you do it, the better you get at it. I understand with all the social media we have that there is a falling off of speaking and conversation and staying on track and attention span. But I don't know that we need another outside thing to help with that. I think we just need to improve our skills, our inherent conversation skills, or lack thereof. Anyway, I don't know how interested she was in that. She didn't seem too offended by it. Yeah, so that was cool. I think that covers it. This was the long check-in. Otherwise, I'm doing fine. The cat is doing good. She survived the week alone with only one visit. And so, yeah, hope you guys have been well. I'm going to cut you loose, and hopefully we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.